What's the crack? Welcome to the Irish Boys podcast. Back again for a season-ending podcast after Manchester United's latest shame today. So, kick things off with 4 topics. First one being from the glory of Aston Villa, Man United's defining moment of the season, costing Villa the Champions League, to getting beaten in a charity match. Then number 2, we will have a look at Manchester United's potential for the summer, outgoings and incomings. And to round us off, we'll just have a back and forth what we thought the highs and lows were this season. So, to start off, Man United, and I called this one, go out and beat Aston Villa in the last game of the season. No pressure on, spineless shore of shits that they are. And finally, they turn in a performance. And then, after what is probably the worst open bus attempt in football history today, go and get beaten in a charity match, which just shows exactly where they're at. So, guys, what do you think of the Villa game?
Well,
I thought they were really good. Sorry, Kieran, go ahead.
Yeah, it was a very good performance. Like, I didn't really want to watch it. I caught bits of it because I thought Villa were going to hammer us going for Champions League football, and thought, what's the point of watching this? And flicked it on, and I was like, sorry, where were these guys? Like, most of the season. It's like a different team. You know, it could have been more than 2-0. I know there was that one incident with Village probably should have had a goal, but Emery came out and said himself after the match like they didn't deserve to win against us, which is rare for any opposing manager to say in our favour this year. So that just tells it all, really. I think Bruno Fernandes came out and even said in the interview after the match, "There's no pressure." They were the words he said, and that just tells it all. The mentality and the mindset of some of these players that need shipped out pretty quick.
Yeah, I would agree. Mum, what do you think of the Villa game?
No, I agree with what Kieran said. And players playing for Man United should not feel that pressure. That's a very weak argument, in my opinion. Like, it is just, as I say, a weak squad that needs rooted out. And I agree with you. Where was that display all season? Albeit, I don't think Villa were very good, to be quite honest. But again, I know I scored 2 goals, but it's trying to break teams down has been the barrier for us because we can't do it.
Yeah.
And even, I know you're going to get onto this match today, right? But that was blatantly obvious against a bunch of semi-amateurs that they cannot break teams down.
Yeah, I think the Aston Villa game was just it was so easy to call that Man United would win that game. Flunk the whole season, disgraceful in the Europa League, and then go out and beat Villa. Do you know what I mean? And sign off as if it's been there all along. We just haven't been able to turn it on. And then the reverse of that is they turn around and they disgrace every Manchester United fan who's ever cared about the club today. I think today was certainly seeing today is one of the darkest days I can remember being a Manchester United fan. I know it's a pre-season game. People will call it a friendly. It was not a friendly. It was a charity match. It was essentially Manchester United going down to play the Northern Ireland All-Stars from the Northern Irish League, and they lost. Where's your sense of pride? Whereas our senior players looking around at each other and thinking after 45 minutes, guys, we haven't scored here. We owe the people that are coming down to the stadium to watch us. We owe people who've come out to Malaysia to watch us a goal or a performance. And it just wasn't in them boys to give it to them. I think that is... I want them all sold. I don't think today...
Well, it's funny because my postman, he supports Leeds United. Mm-hmm. And I think they've been bought over recently, haven't they? They've got cash anyway.
Yeah.
And Eamon turned around to me and he says, we might poach a couple of players, from Man United. I said, Eamon, you can take them all.
Yeah, who do you want?
I said, no Man United fan will cry over any one of them.
Yeah, there's a Leeds fan that I'm quite friendly with, Damien Kearney, and I said to him, what do you think? Would Leeds consider signing Rashford? He said, not a chance. We wouldn't take any of your toxic mob at us. And he goes, it's not even to do with talent. He says, I just don't want any United player that's been around you in the last 5-6 years coming near the Leeds Football Club. And I thought, oh my God, how they might have fallen. Manchester United being smeared out by
That's
Leeds.
in the gutter.
Yeah.
That really is.
That really is in the gutter.
And you know what? Damien made a brilliant point. We're their direct competition next season because they want to stay up and we're on the verge of dropping. So when I seen it and read it, I was like, oh, yeah. There's a truth to that. There is.
Oh,
if
do you
you're
know what I
Leeds, you
read?
want to come 15th.
You know what I read just before we come on? Leverkusen is in for Garnacho.
Ten Hag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Garnacho
what
should be made,
signed for Bayern
Garnacho should be
Munich.
made to buy all those duds that he brought to Man United.
That's what I said last night. There's talks of now because Ten Hag's taken over Leverkusen. There's rumours go out now that they're going to go in for Anthony. They're going to go in for Onana. You know, players that's Ten Hag's favourites.
Yeah, but have they got the money, Kieran, to do that type of thing?
That's the big question.
No.
Yeah.
No, Leverkusen are not a cash-rich club. They're a selling club. They're essentially the same vein as Borussia Dortmund. They have a grow and then sell structure at Bayer Leverkusen. So I could see Alejandro Garnacho because he will have mass sell-on value, and I think Manchester United would be willing to do a deal just to get Garnacho out quickly. I think if they were a weight deeper into the window, you'd fetch 60 to 65 million for Garnacho. I honestly think that's achievable. But I think the way Manchester United will do it is to get rid of him now. Once they go on this tour, and this isn't pre-season for us, this is essentially just winding down the league. And then you've got the 6-week break. I think it's 5-6 weeks where the Club World Championship and stuff is being played. And they'll go out and they'll watch that, and some of them will be there in the United States for it. Probably holiday over there. And it's in that window that Ruben Amorim will seek to ensure that everybody coming back to Carrington when pre-season starts is players that he wants there. No toxic carrying stuff back. Nobody with question marks over them. You know what I mean? Because Chelsea kind of hampered the start to their season by doing this last year. Maresca was very brave when he came in and alienated certain players, but there have been rumours that it wasn't the nicest feeling at the Chelsea training ground when 2 or 3 players were turning up with the first team guys and then segregating themselves to go and train with other teams. Nobody wants to see their teammates being publicly embarrassed, which is what it is when you're told to go and train with the reserves.
Well, especially some of them are like friends as well, or knock about together. It does have a knock-on effect mentally and kind of the atmosphere or the vibe about the place. You want all your ducks in a row, your squad that you want to work with whenever you come on the squad comes back to Carrington.
But sometimes it's necessary to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to root out the weeds, to make the plants grow.
Yeah.
And there's no telling unless you're around them and you're Ruben Amorim who the weeds are. And I think Kieran raises a very valid point. There are human elements to this. These are lads who work together. Everyone has their work cliques and their work colleagues. Some of your work colleagues become good friends of yours outside of work. There are personal relationships here. Who knows who the weeds are, and who knows who is propping up the weeds as well. I would say Diogo Dalot and Bruno Fernandes are very, very close. Okay, I think Dalot's a weed. I think that fallout with Hoyland, it was so evident that rift has not mended, and that those two boys don't like each other. But Bruno will always be there with Diogo Dalot. So I think there could be some real shocks this summer if people leave Manchester United.
Absolutely. I
agree.
And not that I don't want to delve into the next the transfers yet, but we can pretty much say Matheus Cunha is for another signing. Yeah, right. That's another Brazilian player who speaks Portuguese, so we'll easily, when we're talking about cliques and workplace things, and people forming and bonds and units. There's Bruno, Diogo Dalot, Matheus Cunha. If we keep Casemiro for another year, that could be another play in as well.
I honestly think sell them all.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean that. I'm not saying it flippantly. I mean, sorry, not sell them all. What I mean is, I want Bruno Fernandes to go now. I think Bruno Fernandes is entrenched in everything that Manchester United have become in the last couple of years, and it's nothing personal against him. I just don't think Bruno Fernandes was the captain that ever should have been at Manchester United. I don't think he sets a very good tone. If you go back and you watch the Europa League press conference, there's a really interesting moment where they're asking Ruben Amorim why he isn't under the same pressure as Ange Postecoglou. Bruno Fernandes kind of jokingly turns around and says, "Oh, he is. He is under the same pressure."
Yeah,
and then Ruben Amorim turns around and just off the cuff says, "He'll be a great coach someday, but he needs to learn how to speak to people." And I thought, whoa. When I watched it the first time, I thought nothing. When I watched it back, and Ruben Amorim's reaction to what Bruno Fernandes says. If you do anything this evening, watch it back. It was like, oh, wow. So you're saying that Bruno doesn't know how to speak to people or handle people? That's interesting. The Manchester United captain. But I think Bruno, Casemiro, Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire is the only one I think that might be immune to it because he just seems like a really good, humble lad, right? Luke Shaw is a weasel. I want him.
100%. Their families as well.
He needs to go for a couple of different reasons. One, his injury record is shocking. And two, I think he's a disturber.
I'd walk him to Leeds for free.
Yeah.
I think he's a rat.
Oh,
He wouldn't really be able to walk to Leeds now, Rory. He'd probably break down halfway there.
Do you know what? Do you remember way back when we had Ralph Rangnick and Luke Shaw was praised for his very honest and, he was so honest after that game and he just said it like it was. No, he didn't. He shit on the manager. He basically said that the players didn't understand the tactics and the system and setup that they were playing in and that it was getting confusing on the pitch. That's not Luke Shaw being honest. That's Luke Shaw taking a swipe at Ralph Rangnick. How dare you? And then again, there's this rumours going around now that he was vocally criticising the tactics in the Europa League. He's a rat.
Yeah, I'm sure Mourinho didn't like him either.
No,
Mourinho knew there was something wrong.
That relationship was toxic.
But
so it was.
Here we lie, and we kind of diverted away from the Aston Villa game, but I think this is more important because it feeds into the Malaysia episode today. Because I think the Malaysia episode is like the crowning moment of this season where you look at it and go, you boys are toxic and should not be wearing our jerseys. Like, to not even turn up in a charity game and give those fans, I'll not go on about it again, but it was a disgrace. It really was. They should be ashamed of themselves today. They really should. But you look at the 1-11 of Manchester United now at the minute with the way that we all feel, and you tell me who you want to keep. Now, I know a lot of people will say Bruno Fernandes, and I get it. The player is exceptional. World class, in my opinion. Brilliant talent. But who is the man? Who is is he feeding into this culture, or is he going to be part of the solution moving forward? Because the minute all I want to keep is Mount, Manu, Cunha and Diallo. Couldn't get Ugarte, Mount, Manu, Diallo, Cunha. I could get rid of the rest, and that includes Patrick Dorgu because I don't think he's fit for
Lenny Yaro.
Lenny, I love Lenny. Lenny just wants to do good stuff a lot of times in a team that does bad stuff all the time.
No, absolutely. I think he was it says a lot when Dorgu and Lenny Yaro are the two standout players in the European final. When you're watching how as bad as it was, Lenny Yaro trying to dribble, take it on himself from the back three.
I think Dorgu has a brave bit to go, but there's the makings of a good footballer in him.
Absolutely.
I think so.
No?
I think there is. I think it says a lot of it.
He's raw, but he's moldable.
I think it says
and he's got some good attributes.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can carry the ball. What annoys me about him is he can carry the ball a distance, right? And then he loses it. If he can knock, and he's a good crosser of the ball as well.
Yeah, he can cross it.
Yeah.
He can cross the ball. I think he's crossing the ball into a team that has one striker in the box being marked by two centre-backs every single time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the frustration, and that's where I kind of start to ease off on Rasmus Højlund. It's like, you can't just have one target in the box.
You can't.
Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Ahmed Diallo. Diallo was very good at doing the wee run in the back where he scores the headers. He did that against Villa. But the United supporting cast around Rasmus Højlund didn't want to get in the box. So it's easy. Like, Kieran and I are playing centre-back, and I'm looking at Højlund, and Kieran sweeps and I mark, and I glance. All I'm going to do is let Kieran stand behind Højlund and I'm going to stand in front. You're going to have to inch perfect to hit Højlund's head through the two of us.
And do you know who that would suit? Liam Delap.
100.
He would love that.
It might suit Rasmus Højlund next season if he has Cunha and Mbeumo trying to get in the box. It's one thing that you boys do. They press into the box. They want goals. They want to score as much as the striker does. When you have three people running into the box and it causes a bit of chaos and people don't know how to mark, that's where opportunities and goals come from. When you're whipping the ball at a single target being marked by two people, it's the same criticism as I give Rasmus Højlund when he runs. This is the flip side of Højlund when he runs behind the defender and the ball has to be played through the defender. it's simple physics, lads. I can't pass the ball through somebody. Would you come face side of the defender so I can put it here? Which Gyökeres, if you watch him, does exceptional.
Yeah, 100%. I think it wasn't there one game. Like it was during the Europa League. I can't mind if it was against Leon or Athletic, and Gyökeres scored and he assisted one, but there was the striker in the box and players were actually coming in to support. There was three or four players in the box. I think it won 1-4-1. We're going well.
Didn't he score the first one against Bilbao? Ugarte, they hammered the right to the byline and cut it back, and Hoyland had made the run, so Ugarte was standing on his own. It was like, yes, that's
there
how
we go. Yeah. That's how it's meant to be played.
Yeah,
that's one game.
Like him.
Yeah, one game this season where
there's no consistency at all.
No, it's like that's what the manager wants. So we'll just decide when to do it, when not to do it.
Yeah, but I think, yes, you are exactly right when it comes to the consistency, but you need a player that can do that. And the reason it didn't really happen for Manchester United this year is Amad Diallo has had to cover a couple of different positions and playing as right wing back and right forward at constant times. When Diallo is in there, you're looking at Bruno Fernandes, Mount, Garnacho. They're not people who do that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Matheus Cunha could turn you inside out and make the byline. And Mbeumo will just run past you because he's so strong and so quick. But you give the ball to Mason Mount and ask him to do that, he's probably not going to be able to. He's a brilliantly, technically gifted footballer, but he can't really take people on. He's great in tight spaces when he receives the ball, but is he going to turn and have a look, go past the centre-back, inside of the full-back and make the byline? No.
No, he hasn't got that physicality.
No, but he's one of those players, like the goals he scored there, in one game, brilliant half an hour spell he had. He showed he can. Like, there's technical ability, he can turn you inside out, did not go past you, but he can make space for the shot, he can finish. He is a useful Ruben Amorim player, but I think he has a lot to prove this season's make or break for Mason Mount, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And
let's hope we can get through it injury free.
Yeah, if we can, good pre-season.
Yeah.
Fighting fit, he'd probably,
a different player.
He looks fit.
Different player.
He's been trusted to start at the minute. I know they're still managing minutes and taking him off, but I mean, he looks fit. This is probably the most consistent run of games that Mason Mount has had for us, and he's not breaking down, and he's not being fragile in games either. I underestimate how tenacious he is. He's just a wee fighter, isn't he? He fights for every ball, and he yaps and he cries, and he's just very English in the way that he plays football. He wants the ball, and he'll fight
like schoolyard ball.
Yeah.
It's like Wayne Rooney's famous for it.
Yeah,
he is a street footballer.
Scrapper.
Just get locked in. Just don't be throwing yourself in the ground. Don't be yapping. Just put them under pressure. Jack Jordan tactics. Put them under pressure. Fight for the physical ball. Run out to that defender. Do not let him get the easy pass. Mount really impressed me in that respect, but he isn't. When we talk about consistency and that move against Bilbao, you need to have two players either side of a good striker, right, where the defence fears that, because either one of them can run off. You can't go and double up. It's easy to double team Diallo and Hoyland, right, because you know that Diallo is going to run with the ball. And if the opposite side of him is Bruno Fernandes is not going to run with the ball. So you can afford as a defensive unit to come across and make sure that that second man is covering that run. So if Diallo beats me, it's okay because Kieran's there. And Kieran can be there because Kieran doesn't have to worry about Bruno because he's going to stand outside the box. He's not running in. Okay, so our centre-backs can cover that. That's fine. But then you change it and you get... I'm going to use Hoyland because Delap looks like he could be one of Chelsea. You have Hoyland trying to make that run in the box, and then Mbeumo and Cunha coming at pace into the box. You stand there as a centre-back going, shit, who is picking up?
Who do I go to here?
I need to go to Hoyland, but if I go to Hoyland and Mbeumo's free, and you're stretched a wee bit, and that's where goals come from.
Yeah.
Split-second decision, the right pass, bit of chaos in the box, defenders not knowing who's coming from where, and the ball ends up in the back of the net. I just think the one word I'd use to describe United's this season, predictable.
Oh yeah, it's if you can, basically the tactic was stick 2 or 3 people on Amad Diallo.
Yeah, and don't let Rasmus Hoyland free in the box. He's not a prolific goal scorer, and a bit of pressure, you stick tight to him, he's probably not going to get to the ball. Don't give the lad free space and he won't score. That simple. And that, God love the lad, that was the story of this season. I mean, even when he got space, the poor fella couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. It came to the point where I started thinking, just leave, lad. Go and enjoy football somewhere else.
Why am I playing football here? Like,
yeah, you can't be enjoying this.
You know, and like you can tell you like how bad he wants it, and you know, like last season, like he went on a scoring run of how many games, and he ended up with 16 goals. You know, this really could have been. It could have been the season where he kicked on, and you know, in the Premier League, but it was just shocking. Just the confidence went low, down, and there was no.
And confidence plays a big part as well, of course. The lad is none. That's what I was watching him today, and he's very unlucky at times. You know, he gets himself into good positions, but I don't know, he just had to swing at the ball, but the defender blocked it. But I'm sure his confidence is zero at the minute.
Yeah,
especially when your wing back doesn't pass the ball to you.
I also think your environment plays a lot into how a player feels. And
of course it does.
Kieran makes the point there, Mum, right? Rasmus Højlund a couple of seasons ago, even last season, sorry, we were thinking, God, there's a player there. There's a goal scorer there. You know, under Eric Ten Hag. And then you look at this season and it just really hasn't worked out for Rasmus Højlund. He's kind of gone off the point and stuff. But we talk about things about consistency and patterns in play. The Manchester United players, I think of Marcus Rashford, right? Has had 5 monitors. There's no consistency even in board level because Ed Woodward is there. Now Ed Woodward is out. Then Dan Ashworth is the director of football. Dan Ashworth doesn't want to stay. Jason Wilcox is the director of football now. You know, now there's rumours that Paul Mitchell could fit into the Manchester United setup. A man that got turned down for it. So I think environment could be huge. I think if we do keep some of these younger lads and give them stability, consistent coaching tactics, a manager who has told us that it will be 3-4-3 his way, even if he has to die on his sword. If they're getting beat 2-3-0 every week, you'll sack me before I change the 3-4-3. It's being played. So that all could make certain players better. And when I talk about environment, my head instantly goes to Jack Grealish. All the talent in the world, he should not have gone to Man City.
No.
It was one of the rumours on Twitter that we were going to go for him.
In a heartbeat. He's exactly what United need. Jack Grealish is the type of lad that takes the ball into his feet, turns, makes something happen and gets to the byline. And he's a really selfless footballer. You know, he's as focused on assists for his striker as he is on goals, and that's why Haaland loved him for a few seasons, because Jack Grealish's first intention is not, I'm going to score here, it's how does the ball get from here into the net. So yeah, we could do a lot worse than being linked with Jack Grealish. So rumours and bullshit. Mum, your time to shine. So
why me?
Because you just love a story. You were coming out with some absolute clinkers last night where I wanted to reach through the screen and throttle you. But
what's the count been saying?
Right, come on. Give it. Throw them out and Kieran and I'll react. Hit us with it. So who are you need to link to today?
For today, the guy, I don't know his name. He's the wee guy, Paris Saint-Germain. He's South Korean.
The midfielder?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I can't remember his name either. That's really, really poor, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he was, apparently he wants out.
He's not playing, is he?
No. He's not going to get in that team with Platinha and all the rest.
And was he 22 or something like that? He's young anyway.
John Neves. Yeah, he's young. Yeah. He's young enough, like. So obviously
24. Kang-in Lee.
Who?
Kang-in Lee.
That's one, yeah. You know, totally. How can we link this player to who wants out of the club?
United could pick up loan deals. You don't exactly have to buy. You know, there's they're talking about Rasmus Højlund. That was in a couple of the bloggers' posts today that I think it's AC Milan or Inter Milan, one of the Milan teams anyway, want him on loan with an option to buy. Inter Milan. Want him on loan with an option to buy.
I don't get that though.
No, I don't get it either.
Højlund won't for Inter Milan. Who's he getting
No.
in place of Colomwani or Lautaro Martinez?
Martinez, no.
Unless Lautaro
No.
Martinez has decided that he's leaving, that he wants to leave Inter Milan. But
Could.
if Inter Milan win on Saturday night, who leaves the Champions League champions?
Yeah.
I don't get that rumour. I really don't.
Like, imagine Rasmus Højlund playing for the winners of the Champions League.
I would understand Milan more than Inter.
Yeah. Or Juventus.
is he?
Juventus was another one.
Well, Vlahovic has been adamant that he wants to go this summer.
So it is. And Napoli in for Garnacho. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
They were in for Garnacho in January. So were Atletico
So is
Madrid
Chelsea.
and Chelsea.
Apparently Chelsea are looking at him.
Yeah. They all were linked heavily to Garnacho in January when it first came about that he could end up leaving Manchester United. So there again, I don't know. People were saying to me last night, when I was talking about transfers, I said, "Oh, you probably get 60 million for Garnacho," and people were saying, "No, United have destroyed that now. They've killed his sell-on value. Because they've announced that it's almost clear that Garnacho's leaving." Where do they pick that logic from? If you have two bidders for an unwanted item and they keep bidding, you get more money. That's simple.
Sure, how can all Garnacho's agent, whoever it is, I don't think it's his brother, is it?
No, I don't think so.
I think he just loves talking shit.
Social media.
But
He's struggling to manage the lad's Instagram account. Imagine him being in charge of finances. Fucking
yeah. But all they have to say is, Garnacho, in a bad team, got 21 goal contributions this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but another factor, Kieran, is you'll have managers and teams not, sitting and going, well, look at Scott McTominay. Look at the way he's the champion of Italy now. He's not good enough, for Man United. Look at Anthony, the way he's ripping it up in Spain.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they're going to say it's not the players, it's the environment.
And I'm going to say this, even though I am his biggest hater. Alejandro Garnacho is more talented than Anthony. Alejandro Garnacho, the sky is the limit. He's a very talented young lad. I just think that he'll never get there because he's a rat.
He's a bad attitude.
He has a terrible attitude, and he was told from far too young an age that he was a superstar, that he was the next big thing at Manchester United. And now Ruben Amorim has come along and busted the Ten Hag bubble that was built around Alejandro Garnacho, and he can't take it. He can't handle it.
No.
He's acting out like a petulant child. He's acting out like exactly what made him.
No, he's acting entitled. And Ruben Amorim came out and said that about the young squad, and he blamed the social media circus that surround them as well. And he said, who was it? Somebody asked him about in heaven, and he said young players have to be treated not as superstars. In other words, they're only starting off.
Absolutely.
But they are treated like we elevate them. It's going to be very contentious in this transfer window because there's a lot of indicators are pointing towards the fact that Kobe Mainoo will be sold. So, and if Kobe Mainoo is sold, there's going to be such an outcry, and that. But as it wasn't Simon Jordan, it was somebody else, and he said, the player might have all the talent in the world, but if he doesn't suit the manager's philosophy and system, he's no good to him.
Yes, that's a point.
And you get the like of Alejandro Garnacho saying, well, that's not my style. I don't play that way, or, blah, blah, blah.
But it is Mainoo.
There's the door, lad. Walk through it.
Yeah. I can see a ready-made position for Kobe Mainoo, and it's playing as the 6. Alejandro Garnacho is I think people are going 1-1 at the minute, right? And doing what fans tend to do, okay? 1-1 equals 15, okay? If they're selling Garnacho, they'll sell Mainoo. No. Calm down a wee minute, right? Use your head. Alejandro Garnacho is a left winger, okay? United don't play with a left winger, so he has to be sold. Kobe Mainoo, best position for me is a 6. United play with a 6. Kobe Mainoo is a free player that we grew from the academy. Why on earth would Ruben Amorim sell Kobe Mainoo?
Could be finance as well, Rory. He hasn't signed a contract.
Okay.
Could be for other reasons.
What does that mean? He hasn't signed a contract, so he's being sold because he hasn't signed a contract?
No, they're in negotiations.
Sorry, Kieran?
They're in contract negotiations at the minute with Kobe Mainoo.
Yeah.
But they're all positive from what I'm hearing now, and
good.
That Ten Hag there, Ruben Amorim was apparently going to work with Kobe Mainoo on his athleticism and fitness, and what he wants out of his sixes.
Yeah,
Box
I haven't
to
heard
box.
a flicker of discontent from Kobe Mainoo. I haven't heard the lad come out and say one word. I haven't heard the football club say one word about being unhappy with Kobe Mainoo. Who makes this shit up?
You asked me for gossip.
Clickbait. Rumours and bullshit.
I'm not having a go at you. I'm reacting to it. It's just like...
No, I know what you're saying, but this is the start of it.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse.
Strap yourself in, because it's going to get worse.
I think there's rumours that come about and they're entertaining to talk about, and there's rumours that come about and you're like, who pays you, clients? Who gave you money to produce that?
Honestly, right, it's clickbait.
Yeah.
You look at the titles you look at the titles under some of the YouTube videos, right? I can't even think of one off the top of my head. And you look at the whole video and you get nothing of that title relates to that video.
Oh, I hate that. I've started
but that's what I said, it's clickbait.
It used to be entertaining to look at the likes of goal and talk and stuff. Kieran, you know what I'm on about. And I can't.
Excuse me, I know what you're on about as well.
Oh no, sorry, I meant like the wee applications that used to come up on like social media, because I know you're not on it. And goal was one, and what was the other one?
Give me sport.
Joe.ie?
Joe, yeah, that was one, yeah.
Yeah, Joe used to have brilliant sports columnists and some really entertaining writers, and then it became utter shite. It was just muck. Kobe Mainoo wants to leave Manchester United. You get into it, you look, you wait to see was it the football club or Kobe Mainoo. Kobe Mainoo's fucking dog groomer bumped into his granny, and his granny said that he was unhappy with the biscuit selection, so therefore Kobe wants to leave Manchester United. Like,
word on the street, Rory. Word on the street.
Mum's famous word on the street. Anyone that's listening to our podcast,
word
the
on
fucking
the street.
count in the corner. Okay, word on the street.
That's Kermit the Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's just no. So I wasn't having to go with you, Mum, for that one. The Mainoo one. I just don't. Kobe Mainoo will be a United player next year. That's it. Take that to the bank. Any others?
The guy from Brentford. What do you call him? Brian.
No. Yeah, I'm interested in this one.
Newcastle have opened talks.
Hamza.
I know.
Why are Newcastle going for him?
They have Jacob Murphy. They don't need him. Let us have him.
Yeah, I don't. Well, Champions League. They have Champions League, haven't they?
Yeah. That's it. Well, Mbembo's contract is up next year, so.
He's only 1 year left in his contract.
He's only 1 year left, so they'll need if they want to make money on him.
Yeah,
and he has to go on their 50
but
million.
Did Thomas Frank said that he confirmed it that he would be sold?
He could be sold.
That they're a selling club.
I think he confirmed that he wanted to go. He was looking at other options in around him. And I mean, it's the unfortunate consequence of where we are now as a football club, that when Newcastle come calling, you're probably going to go to Newcastle. And I won't blame Liam Delap if he chooses Chelsea. Not with Manchester United's track record in the last 7 years of strikers. It hasn't been great. I'd love Liam Delap to sign, but we're a massive gamble as a football club for a young player at the minute.
But the only thing, Rory, is, the only thing is Liam Delap wants assured playing time. Can Chelsea assure him of that?
Who's going to stop him playing? Nicholas Jackson?
João Pedro?
Yep.
Is João Pedro going to Chelsea?
Not João. Sorry.
The guy from Wolves.
Pedro
Neto.
No.
No, I don't think so, Mum. I don't think Nicholas Jackson is a striker of the calibre that would stop Liam Delap playing. I think Enzo Maresca will probably promise Liam Delap, look, it's you up front, lad. Jackson.
Yeah, I think that's what he wants. He wants guaranteed playing time. He doesn't want to go and sit on anybody's bench.
Yeah, and Jimmy Carragher went out and said something like that there on Monday Night Football, that Liam Delap should go to a club like Everton or like, apparently Everton have offered him a package where he can leave in 2 to 3 years, but like you'd be the main lad, you'd start every week.
Yeah, see,
something like that.
Yeah,
what's the difference in Everton and United at the minute?
Well,
that's just the other team that's in. I know exactly, but that's the third team that I heard that's in for him. Chelsea, Everton, and United. They've all pitched their ideas, but then there's other things come out there and have said basically that the personal terms have been agreed between United and Delap already.
I mean, he has his pick, doesn't he? He probably has the terms agreed with all three clubs.
And terms are agreed between the clubs, but he has to make his own mind up.
I mean, it's the consequence of having a £30 million buyout. You know, there are going to be a lot of interested parties that can afford Liam Delap. So Liam Delap will have his pick of who he goes to next. I mean, it'll be phenomenal if he chooses United. Be great if Kieran McKenna would have a word. The lad has lived in Manchester and he's a back City product.
Yeah, Honor Wilcox.
Chelsea of Champions League. I mean, I'm really liking the thought of Cunha and Buemo and Liam Delap. That's just
stop.
It's dirtiness and fighting.
Don't get your
And
hopes built up.
Liam Delap's a wee scumbag. I love him. He's like an English Diego Costa. He's just always up for that wee niggly row. You know what I mean? It's just like he's just so physical and he's a unit of a lad and he just fires it about and he loves it. Cunha's also a tramp, but in the worst possible ways. Someone needs to get Cunha and settle him down and be like, look, you can't be that petulant because again, it's all the eyeballs. Old Trafford has a bigger appeal to it than Molyneux. No offence to Wolves. You know, it gets heightened in sense of emotions. You can't be going in full-blooded in a Liverpool City game and doing the crazy crap that you do because they'll look for reasons to send you off. And Mbeumo, pace, power, directness. I'm a big fan of Mbeumo.
Yeah.
Good player.
Yeah.
I don't see, you know, they've said it was either go for Eze as well, but I can't see Eze leaving Palace now after winning the Cup, FA Cup, and then having European football next season. Maybe, I don't know, but
possibly.
It's all up in the air. You know, it's going to be a long transfer window.
I mean,
could be as long as our season.
No, nothing can be as long as that season.
No. If you said to me right now, you know what I mean? So the options are you can have Mbeumo and Delap, right? Or you can have Eberechi Eze. I'd have to think long and hard. I think Eze is a baller. Oh yeah. I think he will get the move at some point and he is going to do what Michael Lee said, dude. He'll set everything. There's nothing he doesn't have. He can score with both feet. He's so quick. He's so brilliant in tight spaces. I think he's amazing. I really, really like him. If he came to Manchester United, I'd be a very, very happy man. I would persevere with Highland for a season if we Cunha and Eze either side of him.
Well, yeah, that'll be the time. You'll be able to tell better. I think when you have players with that quality, and creativeness and directness. I think, you know, if Highland can't score 12, 13, 14, 15 goals plus in the Premier League next season, then cut your losses.
Yeah,
I said this to Mum. I seen a video that was on Ruben Amram in the Time Sport in Lisbon, and he was talking about the difference between scoring goals and living on half chances. And I think his United team at the minute are living on half chances. But he was saying that like if the extra pass is there, make the extra pass. You could be one of the 10s in his system, and you've made it past two players, but the angle is acute. Try and find your striker. If your striker is there to be found, play the pass and let the striker put it into an open net. And I look at Eberechi Eze this season and how many times he found Matera. Just beats two people, lifts his head and is like, there's the striker. And that kind of selfless play is where I think Jack Grealish excels in. And Hoyland would love that. Someone to do all the dirty work for you to stand in the right position, and Eze goes, here, shoot.
Tap in.
You know, put the ball in the back of the net. And then that confidence that we build in Hoyland, you know, to build that relationship. Any others, Mother? In Buemo we've had...
Just one more that I can think of. Semedo from Wolves. He would be a free transfer.
Nelson Semedo?
Yeah.
The fullback?
Yeah. He's on a contract.
How have Wolves let that run down?
Don't know.
Well, he's 31 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Not good enough.
No. Well, I don't know that they have that there. Diogo Leon's joining now.
He's a left back, isn't he?
Yeah, he's left.
Semedo's right back.
Does that mean then Dorgu competes for the right, or does they just have rotation, or they have probably just better squad depth then?
Squad depth? They need a squad.
Yeah.
Even though we're not in Europe, you know, you do need a squad.
That's what I'm saying. He's kind of said that we don't need as big of a squad now.
No, but we need quality within the squad as well.
Yeah.
There's no point in taking somebody off. There's going to be a huge drop off for the person you're taking on.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, does he really improve the United team? No.
Is backup though
To who?
to anybody?
No.
No.
I just don't
Well,
see
that's
it.
all I can think of. That's all that they're so far.
Yeah, I mean, I want United to sign a right wing back. I think Manchester United need a right and left wing back. I do. I think they need a starting right and left wing back, an all-encompassing defender that can go forward. You know, it's essential in this system that you have really good players there. Dorgu for me is what Dorgu is good at. He's really good at, and what he's poor at, he's really poor at. So it's very frustrating. And I see him very good at going forward and good at creating chances. He's very poor defensively, and his passing is shocking. His short passing is shocking. It's so poor. He gives the ball away so much.
And there's
Yeah, he
a
has to work
lot
on
of
that.
players.
That was very evident in that match today.
Yeah.
Dorgu.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
almost
it's
like he
just-
gets too excited that he's taking people on and he gives the ball
Yeah.
away.
That's what I said. He can run and dribble past people, and then he gets a head staggers.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets in the brilliant positions as well in the overlapping runs.
Yeah.
Seen a few times he's been picked out by Bruno or Casemiro over the top, and he's like in on the goal to have a shot. He could have a shot if he was a better striker of the ball, shooting wise, or he didn't panic. He could have more shots at goal on target.
And that's what I'm saying. He just takes the head staggers at the wrong moment.
I think he'd be a cracking backup left back. I think bringing him in January is not the worst decision. I just don't think the lad starts. I think United need to sign a left wing back. I think Patrick Dorgu, if you were chasing a game, it was 1-1 or you were 2-1 down, and you see Dorgu coming onto the pitch and you're all encompassing left back coming off, you'd be like, well, I know what Amram's trying here, because Dorgu has one intention, and that's get in that box.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the worst thing to have Dorgu in the squad, but I would definitely sign a starter, and I would sell Diogo Dallo and sign a right back.
Did I read it correctly? Madrid are buying Alvaro Fernandez.
The rumour. I know it was a rumour they were going to, but
Yeah.
Of course they are.
Huh?
Of course they are. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they buy
Like
the
we
left back
give
that we
away
get off
practically.
for £12 million? Awesome. Good stuff. To promote Tyrell Malacia.
There's another lad wasn't given a chance and excelled at Benfica.
Sure, we didn't need him. We had Malacia.
I forgot about him.
Didn't we all?
yeah, we all forgot about him.
Who, by all accounts, has been an absolute disaster on his loan.
Yeah.
We'll see when he come back. He couldn't run.
Alvaro
Yeah.
Fernandez is signing for Real Madrid. Marcus Rashford is being touted to Barcelona, and Scott McTominay is the best player in Serie A. What alternate universe have I woke up in?
Multiverse.
What is happening here?
Yeah.
This is the end game here.
This is it.
Sorry,
It's not happened. Have I just woke back up? I don't know.
Snap the fingers, change it back.
and we give them away for buttons.
McTominay is just I don't get that.
I'm glad for him though.
No,
You
yeah.
both know I gave him dog abuse.
Oh, everybody did, Rory. He
A lot
just
of
was
people did.
misused. And that all stemmed from that McFred thing. And it wasn't fair in either of those players.
So, guys, on now to the ending of the podcast. Now that the season is finished, but end with a bit of lightheartedness. So, give me your biggest negative moment for Manchester United this season, and your biggest positive moment for Manchester United this season. So, Mum, we'll start with you. What is the most negative thing that happened United this year?
Losing the Europa final.
Your biggest positive? What's your takeaway for this year?
The jersey was nice. I did like that stroke now, I have to say.
The white stroke is nice.
What positive? There's no positives.
Oh God! It took you a good 30 seconds to get there too. Okay.
I
thought I heard crickets there.
I had to think about it really hard.
Kieran, how low did we go for Manchester United this year? What was the low point?
It has to be Spurs in the Europa League final. Has to be. You know, the season as a whole was the only thing good about the season was the Europa League Cup run. Like that's the only thing you had to look forward to in the weeks. And the Premier League was just shocking to watch. There was one or two games. Now it's always good to beat City, but we didn't beat that many teams.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and I think the Lyon game.
That was a positive.
That was the biggest.
It was the way they came back.
The way they came back in 7 minutes, and your heart was thumping. Everybody was happy. It was like we're going to win this here, and then Spurs
certain
beat it.
people switch it off and missed it on.
Yeah,
Mason Mount. You know, Mason Mount getting back fit and scoring 2 cracking goals, man of the match. You know, staying fit.
It was brilliant. But when Casemiro turned and looked and seeing Harry Maguire was 1-on-1 at the back stick with a Lyon defender, and I was hoping and praying. I was like, please, give it to Maguire.
Brilliant.
Give it to Maguire. If anyone in a Man United shirt deserves anything out of this season, give that man that moment. He is
build the statue.
Build that statue. Put a 4th one outside Old Trafford immediately. It was brilliant. It was just such a moment.
And then we go and do it against Spurs.
Do you know my low point was actually Sunday? And it's a weird one. The Europa League really hurt, right?
I can see your point.
Yeah, what really annoyed me on Sunday was I said, I remember talking in the group chat and was saying, the boys after the Europa League game, that's a hard one to take. And I sat there and honestly I said, United will beat Villa. United will go now and beat Villa. After that,
no pressure.
Nothing else to play for. And then boys have it in them. That's not a bad team. I've always said this, individually, United have real talent. They're just a really shit team. And then they turned it on, they did it. And after the game, it was like, it's kind of funny and stuff. And I watched it with Lee and we came back to the Blues. And then I remember sitting there and even going, why couldn't they just give that level of effort? Even if they didn't believe in the tactics, even if it was all professional footballers. You go and you cost Villa the Champions League. You lost to Spurs and you came 15th. How does that equate? That was
that performance.
And then you start to creep into like we negativities. You're thinking another real high point for me this season is Ruben Amorim. I totally believe in this man, but will our football create the circumstances where he can succeed, or have Manchester United got too many toxic players for anybody to get it right? You know, and that's where my head was on Sunday. So. But I believed in a manager more than I believe in this guy. I really think
I don't think Amorim will be behind the door getting rid of them, but it's how many windows will it take to get rid of all those toxic players? As you said, Rory, they're all on high wages and long contracts. Now, I know he's changed his opinion on Casemiro, and he seems to get on really well with Harry Maguire. And you do need senior players, but they're like a Luke Shaw. How long has Luke Shaw been at the club? 11 years.
El Rado.
Far too long.
Years. Way too long.
But
it's trying to get rid of him as well.
Yeah.
And can they create the circumstances where Ruben Amorim is successful, or have Manchester United tied itself now to anchors that will always hold the squad and the manager back until they leave the club? And if United can't find homes for these people, or we're hampered by the financials of it all with our wages and whatever, then does Ruben Amorim fail?
I think. What do you think, Bob? Go back to something you said last week. Where I think it's minimum. I think this summer, if it's only going to be 3 or 4 in the door, it has to be starters.
Yeah.
To have any chance of, improving. Now, it's not going to take much to improve on our position this season, but I genuinely think if we can go and we've got Cunha, if we can go and get another baller of a number 10, like an Mbeumo or an Eze, of that, and get the lap in the door. I think that the goals and assists that they offer, and we have decent squad backup in them positions now. If they're going to be our starting 3. You've Mainu, you've Mount, Bruno can play in there as well. It could be a different story next season. And I think improve that and
Building blocks.
get more out the door.
I don't feel like next season hinges on incomings though. For the first time as a Man United fan, I think it really hinges on outgoings.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
unless
As well.
he gets rid of who he wants to get rid of, he still will carry on the same toxicity that other managers have to suffer.
Yeah. Will you look at the Lisbon? Sorry, Jacqueline.
It's okay.
The Sporting Lisbon the window when he came in.
Yeah, and I get that, but it's very hard to get rid of players that are on overinflated contracts that nobody wants.
Don't want to go.
Yeah, Sporting Lisbon would have been an easier project, I think, Kieran, because you can move those players on to other football clubs and they're not financially impacted by that. It becomes infinitely harder at Manchester United when Luke Shaw makes 140 grand a week, can't keep himself fit, and is the wrong side of 30. You've got the likes of Casemiro making 300 grand a week. You know, I'm just using examples of senior players that would be very hard to sell. I think United will struggle with Rashford if Barcelona drop their interest.
Well, apparently there was the agents and all and representatives in.
Talking
talking about Barcelona already. And Dago.
No matter what happens tonight, no matter what Anthony does tonight, no matter how good he is, how do Real Betis afford Anthony?
GoFundMe.
Didn't Isco say that? He would start up a GoFundMe for him.
But they would need to.
They love him, like.
Speak to Anthony and get him to drop his wages by half. He'd need to half his wages.
Yeah, I think he'd be willing to do that. Apparently, he's happy there.
He's loving life there, like.
Yeah.
And Atletico were getting in for him as well.
Yeah, I read that.
As well, that was a rumour. You know,
we come to the end of our podcast. We come to the end of the season. It's been emotional. Manchester United pre-season kicks back in 5 to 6 weeks. I think we're going to take a week off now and then hit straight back into the pre-season. Club World Cup, anyone looking forward to that? I actually think it might be good.
Yeah, maybe some decent teams, isn't it?
I thought it'd be shit. And then FIFA have forked out $100 million for the winner.
Oh.
You can see this?
No.
FIFA have announced the winner of the Club World Championship will receive $100 million.
Can United think into it? No.
No. But all of a sudden the ante is up. £76 million will go to the winner.
You know, they just could mix us up with Man City and just, you know, put the red team in there instead of the blue.
Tell me, where does Ronaldo go?
Oh yeah, good. I've seen that. I've seen his tweet. End of a chapter.
Well,
so he's
not us.
He's not hanging up the boots anyway.
He's not.
He's going to Sporting. He's going to Sporting.
I'd love him to go to Sporting. I think that would show class from his behalf. Or Sporting in the Club World Championship. Sure. Yeah, the Portuguese champions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gyökeres is going. Ronaldo's going to go back home.
There were heavy rumours that he was going to go to Monterrey in Mexico to play with Sergio Ramos, but surely David Beckham is at the crack now.
Inter Miami.
Messi, Ronaldo, Suarez.
I thought he couldn't go back to America.
Last dance.
Pardon?
I thought he couldn't go back to America.
Because of that trial?
Yeah.
Why would he not be allowed back?
I don't know. I thought I read somewhere that he can be rearrested for whatever.
He was never convicted. You're not allowed back into America if you're a convicted felon in the United States, but he's not a convicted felon because it was settled out of court. So I don't know why he wouldn't be allowed back.
No, he should be alright.
Sure, he's played there before on tour. He played there with United. Went with Ten Hag and got into the States.
Well, I think he goes to Sporting. And then I think because he wants his son wants to play with him before he retires.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Although he's come out and said as well, I don't know if you've seen it last week, that apparently he's the fitness of the body of a 28-year-old. So he said, I might play for another 10 years.
Could he not sign a short-term contract with Inter Miami, turn up to the Club World Championship, play with Messi, give us what we want, and then go to Sporting Lisbon?
He could.
I wonder how short a contract you're allowed to sign to get into the Club World Championship. Can you do like a pay-to-play thing or something like that? While he decides on his future in the summer.
Maybe smart. Maybe he makes some dough as well. Like, not that he needs it, like, but
no, he doesn't.
Look, I think if FIFA have any sense, right, then they are trying to set up a three-way conversation between them, David Beckham, and Cristiano Ronaldo. Their tournament is being viewed in a really negative light, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who doesn't watch the Club World Championship if Inter Miami have Ronaldo, Suarez, and Messi playing up front? Who isn't going to want? Even the biggest skeptic tunes in to see Messi play Ronaldo. It would just FIFA's dream.
Just a football fan stream in general, I think.
Yeah.
Youngsters, our generation, mum's generation, everyone would want to see it. Messi and Ronaldo in the same team.
You love it, never, once in a lifetime.
It'll not work too, it'll be calamitous, but it'll be hilarious.
Getting each other's way.
Clash the egos in the pitch. Right, guys, so we'll take a week off and we'll see you again circa 2 weeks' time.
Yes, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Take care. Bye now.
Bye.